Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Storybox, where I, your host, Jay Phantom, has the utmost privilege and honor to unbox the amazing stories of some incredible people from all walks of life and experiences. I'm delighted and grateful that you're here today. Now let's dive into the Storybox and hear more about our guest today. But today it's about you, Joel, and your story.
It is. It really is.
It's all about you, my friend. All about you.
Finally.
So we're gonna unbox your story a little bit.
Let's do it.
So I normally do a formal, hopefully I'm not going to butcher it, introduction of pretty much I got this from IMDb. So if anything is wrong.
Sweet. Oh yeah, I'm sure it will be, but let's see what happens.
We'll work through it together. So
great. All right. Let her rip.
Okay. Well, everyone, I'm delighted to welcome Joel McHale to the Storybox Podcast today. Joel, you were born in Rome, Italy. Is that correct?
Correct.
Far out. Growing up in Rome, Italy, that would have been an experience.
I did not grow up there.
You were just born there.
Wait, is this the whole intro?
This is the whole intro. This is the fun of it.
Oh, you just get to one line? Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, no, I was born there, but I didn't reside there for very long. I think for like 2.5 years. So,
but your heritage is Canadian, correct?
No, I'm full Italian, my friend, as you can see. I am half Canadian, half American. My mom is full on Canadian and my dad is American. He's from Chicago. My mom's from Vancouver, BC.
And she's of Irish descent?
My dad is Irish. He's basically, they had the most boring 23andMe ever. They took the DNA test and my mom is, there's a little bit of everything in there, but it's basically just Norwegian and Irish as white as it can get. And when they got the results back, they were like, yep, that's what we thought. No surprises at all. And that was pretty funny. And so my mom's family moved from Vancouver, BC to Rome because my grandfather got a job at the UN working in their fisheries department. And he helped stimulate fish populations around the world. That was his job, which is pretty incredible. And then my dad was from Chicago and he wanted to get out of Chicago and he chose Rome after he saw the movie Roman Holiday in high school. And he said, that's where I'm going. And he figured it out. And so he was the dean of students at Loyola University Rome Center, which is there today in Rome as we speak. Yeah. I don't know if it's happening now with the pandemic, but they were in Rome in the swinging 60s. They said it was as cool and wonderful a time as you could have.
I can imagine.
Pretty cool.
But you were raised in Seattle, Washington, and graduated from Mercer Island High School. You were a history major at the University of Washington.
All correct.
That makes a lot of sense.
That all is correct. Yeah.
And
Mercer Island is a suburb of Seattle.
Wow. Cool.
It's like the Palms.
Like the ponds. Very posh. So you were also a member of the championship football team. In addition, Joel, you received your Masters of Fine Arts from...
The football is somewhat correct. I was not on the 91 team. I was on the 92, 93 teams.
Okay.
Or the 90. Yeah. I quit right before the 93 season.
Wow. I guess we'll get into all that as well. But you went into the fine arts from UW's acting training program.
I took some time off and I did a lot of acting in between undergraduate and graduate school. Yeah. I was on a television show a local show in Seattle.
Okay. So I'm curious to know, we'll get into why you decided to choose acting and why you had that break.
Acting chose me, my friend.
Oh, it was a calling.
Everybody says.
And I heard the calling and went for it.
See?
So you were a cast member on King TV's Almost Live in 1984.
That's it. Yeah.
Moved to LA after graduating college and quickly landed parts in Will and Grace in 1988.
Yeah. That was 2000.
2000. Okay. I was 4 years old then. So
Yeah.
it's a small
I got
world.
married in 96. So there you go.
You got married in 96. That's when I was born. Oh, wow. What month?
Fucking A. Oh, July. This month.
Bugger. You could have got married in August.
Bugger.
It would have been 5 months, man.
You couldn't even been our flower boy. Your mom would have just been very pregnant at our wedding.
Yeah, that would have been cool, though.
How old's your mom?
I think she's 54, 55. I apologize if I got that wrong.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
I have no idea. No, I'm 48, so
yeah,
I'm catching up to her.
She doesn't look her age, though. She looks quite young.
Nice.
You also...
That means you'll look young. That's great.
I'm 23 at the moment, so yeah, a lot of people actually say that I look 30 and act 30.
Well, this whole thing does it.
But when I shave it off, it's like I look like a kid. But anyway,
You look like a boy, yeah.
Yeah. You were in Oliver Bean in 2003, I believe.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, you really are going down the
rabbit hole.
Yeah, that was... I can't believe that's even on the IMDb. I mean, I don't even know if I had a line. Yeah, that was...
Were you credited or uncredited?
No, I'm sure I got a credit. If it's in IMDb, usually it would say uncredited or credited. Yeah, I was friends with the casting director, and my wife and I knew her from yoga class, and she was like, "Will you come do this little part?" And I was like, "Yes, I need the work." And that was before I could find an agent.
Wow. But you also, did you find an agent when you were in Spider-Man 2?
I did not have an agent then.
Far out. And you still...
I had a really nice man named Jason Burns who was an agent, and he basically said, you don't have enough credits or heat under you for me to be able to represent you at my agency. But what I will do is send you out without my agency's knowledge, which is called hip pocketing.
Right.
And I thought at the time, that was great. I couldn't get an agent, but I did have a commercial agent called AKA, and they are around today, and they are fantastic. And they kept me in business for a long time, but I could not get a real agent. And it wasn't until The Soup that I actually got an agent. I got an agent after I got The Soup.
Wow. So you were in The Soup on E, which is basically you encountered the most absurd, hysterical, wacky, and surreal moments in the world of reality TV, which I actually watched.
You did. There's a lot of dirty jokes. So
yeah, too many. But it was funny. And you got to star in, this is where I know you the most from, Community in 2009. You appeared alongside of Matt Damon in Steven Soderbergh's comedic thriller, The Informant, in 2009. You hosted...
Yeah, I had a part in that movie. I wasn't along. Yes, at some points I was standing alongside of him, but yes.
It still counts.
Still counts as alongside.
You hosted the 2011 Independent Spirit Awards and co-starred in Robert Rodriguez's Spy Kids 4, which I haven't seen.
How dare you? How dare you not do your research, Jay?
Tell me about it. I've seen Spy Kids 1, if that helps, but not the one that you were actually in.
Come on, I'm not in that.
I have to go back and watch it now.
Yeah, go back and watch it. Yeah. No, yes, all that's true. That's all true.
And you starred opposite Jessica Alba and played a spy hunting reporter married to Alba's character, mother of his children.
What is the name of this podcast?
The Storybox Podcast.
Shouldn't it just be reading IMDb out loud?
Don't worry, I'm getting to the Storybox part.
Oh, okay. I'm very excited to see when we get. Jessica Alba. She's lovely, ugly, very ugly, but lovely.
I hope she's not listening to this. But
no, she's counting her money.
Appeared in so many other movies as well. I guess I could continue speaking about all the.
No. Yeah, people can look it up, folks.
Look it up. I don't want to waste too much of your time, but John,
you're not wasting my time, my friend.
Welcome so much to the Storybox Podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I love people in Australia that broadcast from their homes with treadmills behind them.
That's my mum's treadmill. So
So is there a chance she's going to come in and work out during this?
If you want.
You're like, Mom, get out of here.
Come in here and do a workout.
Great.
But
she stays fit.
She's really fit, actually, surprisingly.
I will be working out after this. I gotta keep old age away as quickly as I can, as much as I can.
I've been up since 3 a.m. I did a workout this morning at
No way. 3 a.m. Why? 3 a.m. What time did you go to bed?
8:30, 9 o'clock.
Damn, look at you. You are serious. You are not messing around.
I'm crazy, but I do a lot of interviews around the early stages because of the time zone differences, which
very cool.
You got to do what you got to do, my friend. And
nice. Yeah, I agree.
I appreciate your time. I have one question that I love asking people before we dive into your backstory and the Storybox aspect, which is, what does success look like to you?
I don't know. No. Well, boy, it's hard to, I will say mentally, I will say there's always in the back of my mind, as I think a lot of actors are, that they always go, I'm getting away with a crime and we're just tricking everybody and I'm a fraud because you're, and then, so there, but then you have that then when you think, like, if you say that stuff out loud, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I've done some stuff. That's good. And so then there's a duality there that I have where I'm like, oh, this will be my last job. And then I go like, oh wait, I have a 3-car garage. So somehow something worked out. So I definitely own some cars that when the lease is up, they're not going to drag them away. So, so success I don't know how to, when I feel good about like a performance, I'll be like, okay, that was good, but that doesn't happen very much. I usually am very self-critical. It's not a good way to be, but I find, so I'm constantly working because I'm obsessive compulsive and a workaholic, but
so am I, don't worry.
There you go. But I find it I'll look on my shelf or something and I'll be, or someone will say like, or someone comes up to me and says, hey, I saw Community. I'll be like, oh, thanks. That's great. Okay. So that's how it strangely is my very odd measure. So I guess that's what it looks like as far as acting goes. But as far as personally goes, the measure is that, I have a wife who still agrees to be married to me, and I have 2 beautiful boys, and love them to death. So that part I count as successful. And this is like a really cool T-shirt, so that's pretty successful.
Yeah, I got a cool T-shirt too. It says, "Do you even?
Do you even?
Do you even podcast? Do you even speak? Do you even learn?
Do you even put on a T-shirt that says, "Do you even? Do you even?
Yeah. Do you even?" So. The reason why I read out your bio is because you do have quite a lot of things in there that people would perceive on the outside as successful. So I'm always curious about what your standpoint is and what you believe it to be, because you've actually experienced a lot of things that other people wouldn't have actually experienced in their life. And what I'm also curious about is for your own personal life, how did you actually meet your wife?
I was walking home from football practice at college when I was a freshman, which is, I don't know what you call that in Australia. It's 4-year college. It was the first year. And my wife was in her 4th year.
Oh, wow.
Although she was only 1 year. She's not even she's 1 year older than me, which shows you that, I was held back. I was told I was dumb. It was great. And so I was walking, and then our friend Kim O'Neill was her name at the time. She introduced us, and I went to high school with Kim O'Neill, and we're still friends with Kim and her husband. And that was the first time. And then I didn't see Sarah for like 3 years. And then her brother, I was on a movie set of a movie that I was in that nobody saw. Her brother was a production assistant, and her mom was an extra, and she was there just hanging out. And we were reintroduced by her brother. And then I asked her out. My friend I asked my friend, should I ask, do you think I have a chance? And she was like, you do not have a chance, but you should, but I'll see what happens. And then that slowly but surely, I wore her down into liking me, and it all worked out.
How long did that take from seeing her wearing?
I'm still working on it right now. Still.
It's a year-long process.
That took months. It took like a few months. It was. I pursued her very with great rigor, and then finally, like by about March, I think she was like, "Okay, we can date," and that was kind of how that went. And so, I'm very lucky. She's outstanding.
What were the things that you did to actually wear her down though? Like, what were the things that you said to her that actually?
I just burst out crying every time I saw her and just begged, please go out with me. Dear God, please. I took her to dinner so many times, and we would just eat, and which is what you do in America. And that's kind of how I wore her down, is by maxing out my credit card of taking her to dinner of money I did not have. And I just kept spending it. And I was like, well, I'm spending it on the best one, so I might as well go all in and try. And thankfully she agreed. Worked out. Yeah, I can't believe how long ago that is. Like, we look back on it, we go like, it seemed like 2 years ago we got married. And then we're like, oh my gosh, coming up on 24, 23. So it's bananas. I think this year we will have been sleeping in the same bed longer than we slept in a bed alone.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's insane to think about. Congratulations too.
Thank you. And it's the same bed. It's really falling apart. It's not the same bed. No, I'm fancy. I got a totally new, great fucking bed.
I can imagine. But Joel, what has been one lesson that she has taught you over the years that you hold dear to your heart?
Don't be a dick. Probably a lesson. You got to, if you want to keep your marriage and keep it going and keep things great, hopefully, you can't ever control really. There's so many things you can't control, but the things you can, like going, I would say each day you choose your partner, you choose to be with them, you choose to love them. And the more you do that, like tending a garden, it becomes second nature and your garden grows. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in love and it's so great. And she agrees to be with me. So it's that. So if you move towards your partner and don't go like, oh, well, now we're married and that's that. It's just the beginning.
So I want to sort of switch up the conversation a little bit and dive into why you decided to go into acting of all things when, like I think I mentioned in the beginning that you studied history and you majored in history. So what changed for you that made you want to go down the road of acting?
Well, it wasn't like I was going to open a history shop or become a professor. I chose history because I love history. And it was almost all of the history courses at the University of Washington were lecture courses, as many classes are. But I'm very good at listening to stuff like that. I'm terrible reader. I hate reading. I'm terrible at it. I'm dyslexic. But I'm very good at absorbing information if it's being read out loud to me or said out loud to me. And so that was like perfect combination. Because I was a really bad student, except for in history, because I was genuinely interested. So it wasn't like I was going down the path of history professor, but I wanted to be an actor since I was like a second grader, forever and ever. I wanted to be an actor. It's all I ever really, truly, it was either that or play sports. So I wanted to be on stage or be throwing a ball at something. And so that's all. I was not interested in school. I probably should have never gone to regular university. I should have gone to conservatory for acting or something, because that's all I ever wanted. And I think since about then I got like in my brain, I got serious when I was in 7th grade. I was like, I'm doing this. And of course I did everything but so it wasn't like a career switch. I was in college because I felt like I needed, or I was told I should feel like I need a degree. And believe me, for those of you listening, all 12 of you, including Jay's mom, go ahead, please go to college. It's a great, wonderful way to discover what you want to do. So I for real, but if you know what you want to do and it doesn't necessarily require a degree, then don't do it. Go do that thing.
I'm in university at the moment and I'm 23. So I did my first semester just recently and I struggled in school. Like it was hard for me to actually get good grades. And I know like for history as well, same deal. Like I love history. I love learning about the past and how the past impacts our future as well. And that always sort of got me through in a way, the interest level, but also filmmaking. I was known as the filmmaker. Like they nicknamed me DJ_Director J. That was on my year 12 jersey. So all I wanted to be was a filmmaker and tell stories from the past, tell meaningful stories to help others, have a good theme or a good message in there, because I was seeing all these movies that didn't really have that real good meaning or theme in them. I remember the first movie that I watched that actually made me want to be a filmmaker was The Princess Bride. And I've got...
It's a great, amazing movie.
You've got romance, action, adventure, comedy. You got everything in the one movie. And I'm like, well, I want to do that. And I was told that not to go to film school, not to do this, not to do that, but go down a very difficult road. It took me 5 years to get to where I am today, and I'm still learning, still growing. And I'm curious as well for you, Joel, when you did the acting program, what was the one thing that you loved the most about it?
Oh, well, there was a zillion things I loved about it, but I hope you're pursuing film now.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
like
good,
this
good,
is just one of the things that I actually made a movie called Dyslexia. So
great. Well, I'll have to check it out.
Inspirational film.
I can't wait to see what the title sequence looks like.
It's pretty cool.
No, there wasn't. I mean, in grad school, it was. I love the people, and it was a very good place. It was like a laboratory to just do acting all the time, and that was incredibly rewarding. And so I look back on it as a very good time to learn. It was just a good place to screw up and really, I mean, I think there's good actors are born good, some of them, and some of them develop. And I think I'm in the second half of that. No, there wasn't one thing that I was like, that's the key. It was a collective thing.
So how do you go about memorizing scripts? Do you read them or do you have someone read them out to you and then that's how you memorize?
I can still read. It's just much slower. And I don't have any problem with memorizing.
Wow.
They're totally different parts of your brain. I'm pretty dang good at memorizing speeches on the fly or for auditions and stuff. So it's a whole different, it's just that if I get a 120 page script, some people can read that in 40 minutes and it just takes me a couple hours, maybe more. And I just am a very reluctant reader. No, but totally different than memorizing.
So what's your process like when you actually get the script, you read it, and then do you like read the story first? Do you focus on your character first? What do you go through?
Oh, well, it depends. I mean, if you have access to the script, then you definitely want to read that and find out everything you can and have all the clues you can into that person and what you're playing. And then if you only have the script or the sides, then I usually will call the casting director or somebody and go like, you need to explain everything, what's going on here. And then I guess it depends, because if it's an audition that has to happen quickly, then you have to memorize it quickly and get it going or as close to as possible. But I guess the process is, why is this character speaking out loud? Why are they in the thing? Why are you there? And what are you trying to do? So if you have like, what are you trying to get? What are you trying to do? And who are you trying to do it to? And all that, then you're beginning to put the train tracks down and make a map. So, I mean, to varying degrees of success, I'm actually not the greatest auditioner. But I guess once in a while I am. Not the greatest, but I can get the part once in a while. But yeah, no, you just got to put the time in. That's really it. I think a lot of people think acting is just a thing you do. And that's like just getting in an airplane and just knowing how to fly it. It's just not the same.
What would you say is the hardest thing about being an actor then?
I don't know about I count all of this as bonus. It's all I ever wanted to do. So when I actually got to do it and make money doing it, like I could be solvent and not have to have another job, I was just thrilled. And so I skip to work usually. The only thing that I would say is difficult is sometimes, I mean, there are things that I've been in where the hours are really bananas, and you just have to get your proper amount of rest and be ready. You just got to be ready when they say roll. So that's the only, like, sleep deprivation can be a thing. It was a thing on Community, but I knew we were making something good, and I knew the scripts were amazing and the cast was really just out of this world. So again, it's like, I don't look at it as like, when I hear actors talk about how hard their days are and how hard their work is, I'm like, don't do it. If it's really that hard, if you're complaining and it's that hard, then you probably are in the wrong business.
So how did the show Community actually come about for you?
Well, had been on the Soup for about 4 years, and I wanted to do the Soup because, well, the show, we didn't even know what the show was going to be. E knew they wanted a show like Talk Soup that had been on in the 90s before your parents had even met, or in the early 90s, and it stopped at around 2000. They brought it back, and they didn't know really how they wanted it to work. And so instead of it being daily, we made it once a week, and they brought me in. I mean, I auditioned for it, and after a very lengthy, lengthy audition process, not because they were auditioning so many people, just because they weren't in any hurry. It happened, and so we got on TV, which is a hard thing to do in itself, when you really look at it. And then I knew that if I could get auditions out of this Soup thing, which I don't know how long it was going to last, then I could get into these, because I was only auditioning for like the best friend or a small character. And I was like, I want to audition for the leads. And so with the Soup being on the air and actually a couple people watching it, I started getting those auditions. And I booked a couple of leads. I booked a big lead, which was never made it anywhere. Almost made it, but then it didn't go. And then I was on. Then you get put on basically a list where they're like, this person is capable of being the lead in a television series, we think. And so it's crazy, because I'll talk to casting directors and be like, there's no one available. I can't get anyone to. We're not going to be able to cast this show. And there's so many actors out there. And, but it really shows you that it is a difficult business. Anyway, Dan Harmon, I was being sent a zillion scripts. It was when people were just beginning to learn about the Soup and me. And, when that happens, you get this little heat under you. And then people start being interested. It's very bizarre and it's a very weird feeling. Great, because people are like, oh, finally, finally. And then it was one of many scripts, but boy, it was such a good pilot script. It was the best pilot script one of very few where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a show.
Oh yeah.
And Dan Harmon is a genius, and the Russo brothers are geniuses. And Dan wrote this amazing script. And, it was one of the first scripts that I'm like, oh, I want this badly. Because a lot of the time you put yourself out there and you're like, who knows how many other people they're interested in, who they really want, who the network wants, who the studio wants, who the writer wants, all that crap. But I was like, I'm going to go for this very diligently. And Dan Harmon's girlfriend at the time, her name was Erin Hill. She watched The Soup, and they were like, that guy is your Jeff Winger. And so they brought me in, and it worked. Very strangely and shockingly, it worked. So I got very lucky and blessed. And, you always hear about like, that was your big break. You got so lucky. And when you hear actors being like, when I hear that, as if some person was just strolling down the street and being like, you're the one, that's not how it works at all. Mm-hmm. Usually when someone gets their big break, they've been working steadily for years, trying, doing all sorts of other things in acting, and then they finally get one that works. So you look at Bryan Cranston, who was the dad on Malcolm in the Middle, and then he gets Breaking Bad, and Breaking Bad was not a hit in the beginning. And all the reviews were really snarky. Like, I don't even think I need to watch the dad from Malcolm in the Middle make methamphetamine. I don't think so. And then they just all fucking change their tunes. And so anyway, that's how I got it. That was the longest explanation ever. I included a lot of other information. I'd like to point that out.
No, it's great. Like, this is a story box. So as many stories as you can share, the better it is.
In a box. I'll end with the word box on every story. And box. Go ahead.
So did you have any, so I got two questions coming from that. So the first one is, did you have any fears when you first started that you weren't going to quite make it or break it in to acting? And my next question after that is, with Community, do you have a specific moment or a specific story that you can share that you remember the most?
Oh, well, let's see. Would I have fear? You have to have some confidence that something's going to work when you get here to LA. Because if you don't, then you won't. I don't think I was a person that was strutting around going like, I'm going to be, no, I'm going to be the next Ginger Rogers. But I didn't. Yeah, you just kind of go. I don't know. It's for me. You have to be confident, but also realistic. And so I get my wife, and I said, just give me 5 years to try to make it work. And if it doesn't work, we'll just go back to Seattle, and I'll find a real job. And 4 years in, it started really working. I mean, as far as like I was making money at the thing I was trying to do, and so. I didn't have any fear of like, oh no, I'm not going to make, I didn't have that. But every actor, I think most people, unless you're a narcissist, are like, you have self-doubt about things. I think it's very healthy to have some of that. And then as far as Community, I mean, there's a zillion stories. That's like saying, pick out one specific moment in the last 5 years with your family that stands out. It was the best of times. It was a crazy time, but it was really great. And I count myself as, and again, insanely blessed that I got to do it. But, the first shooting the pilot was thrilling because I was like, oh, I get to be in this pilot, and I get to give this wonderful speech at the end, and I hope it works. And so that's really, so yeah, I mean, there's a zillion stories of me. I mean, all those people are my friends for life, and we are on a text chain every day practically. I mean, we text probably a few times a week, and like the cast. And so after the table read we did over Zoom a month and a half ago, I just realized how much I love them and miss them. And it was such a good time. It was such a kind of like this cool 6 years of our lives where we all got to be together.
And now you've started this podcast as well with Ken called The Darkest Timeline.
Yeah.
Which I'm a fan of as well. It's absolutely hilarious. So if anyone hasn't listened to it or seen it, go check it out.
Look it up. We just dropped one today with Whoopi Goldberg and talked about her.
Oh, no way.
She talked about her, her when she was young and trying to make it as an actor, and her very interesting journey, and how when she popped, it was so cool and so remarkable. And she was ready for that moment. And She's
incredible.
She's the real deal. And she's so kind. She's a great example of, like a person that's good. Like, oh, that's what you should do as a person, is be good and be good to people. And she just makes you feel like $1 million.
Wow. I'll go listen to it after we've spoken. Thanks for telling me.
No problem.
Whose idea was it to actually start it? Was it yours or Ken's?
I had said we should do a podcast at some point, and people said you should. And Ken and I were the busiest people on the planet. I mean, Ken is truly, he's so busy. It's remarkable. And I was like, we should do this. And then it wasn't until the pandemic hit that we both couldn't travel and weren't traveling. And I said, we should do this now. And I think he thought the exact same thing. I know he did. And so we did. And we started it. And that's kind of how it went. And we're like 20 episodes in. And we've got like 2 million downloads. So keep on listening, guys.
Jeez, and I'm one of them. Far out.
There you go.
That's sort of like the number where I want to be, hopefully soon. Like that's incredible.
There you go. Yeah, it's really fun. He's great. I'm very lucky to be friends with him.
What's Ken taught you about life and about yourself?
That I'm not a doctor, definitely. Boy, what has he taught me? Algebra. No, Ken is. What's been great is that it's. We wanted to be both of the same idea for the podcast, which is let's interview people we kind of know, especially, like we started out with all the community cast members, but like we want it to be a conversation and not just a list of like so many interviews are pretty short and they kind of check off a few boxes, but we just were like, let's just have a conversation and see where it goes. Mm-hmm. So that's the stuff I just like it when it's conversational. So, what did I learn from Ken? His work ethic is like no other. I've never seen anybody like him. Yeah, I thought I worked hard, and then I'm like, oh, Ken works his ass off. So, and my wife is like, stop working so hard. And I'm like, well, Ken. So yeah, so we're two very type A workaholic OCD guys, which works well for a podcast because we put all the time now. We do like 2.5 episodes a week.
Wow. And how do you manage your time properly? Like, how do you both?
There's strangely in this pandemic, I know that you guys aren't as locked down as we are. We have 53,000 new cases today.
What?
So, yeah, it's out of control here. It's hard to manage your time because you're at home and you're like with your family, but you're like, I'm going to go sit in this room now for 4 hours and on a Yeti mic with the headphones. And so, usually I try to work out in the morning, but I stayed up till 2:30 last night because I'm reading stuff and I make a deal with myself that I have to be able to watch like 20, 30 minutes of something. So, usually sometimes I don't have time, but, I'm watching Narcos right now.
Oh,
and
it's
just great. Damn, it's good. When I watch Narcos, I'm like, oh man, it'd be great to be in something like that. That thing just hums along. It's so well done. Anyway, then I woke up late. I didn't wake up late, but I got like 7 hours of sleep, and then I've been working most of the day. I took like my kid and I went running, and we didn't go running. We went and ran out and through the football, the American football, the only football, and
the footy.
The greatest. And so that was like, after this, I'll exercise and then I'm cooking tacos.
Nice. Very nice.
I mean, I'm sure you could have a mid-afternoon taco if you like.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Right?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Who doesn't like tacos?
Who doesn't like tacos? But that's my favorite, is that when we go to, because I was going to New York like 20 times a year. And I'll get these New Yorkers, they're like, you've got to come to this Mexican place. It's the best Mexican food. And I'll be like, well, I live in Los Angeles and there's some pretty damn good Mexican food. So we'll see. We will see. It's always pretty good. It's just like twice the price.
Oh yeah. I can imagine. Like I've heard a lot about the American food, and I've got a lot of friends of mine over in the States as well, but I've never gone over. I've never.
Time to come on over.
This year was actually meant to be my year that I actually go over to the States, but COVID happened, and I've gone.
Yeah.
Well, next time.
Next time.
So
yeah, we'll be fine. I don't know, by February or something. Who knows?
Hopefully, because I'm really looking forward to actually going over and experiencing it. Because like I was saying before, I'm a history nerd. So I like going over to places like Rome, Italy, and seeing their history from my eyes. Venice. I want to go South America as well. I want to go to America, Washington, all these places that I've got mapped out in my head. I want to go see. But yeah. It's good that I'm making these kinds of connections, because then I can actually meet people in person.
There you go.
I get the guided tour.
Yes. I will give you a tour of Washington, D.C. Yes.
And I get it narrated by Joel McHale himself.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Amazing. Joel, I'm very much the same with this podcast as well. I listen to a lot of other podcasts, and I hear all the questions that they ask them. And it kind of annoys me in a way, because it feels like they're asking the same repetitive questions over and over again, and people kind of get sick and tired of it. I like that. I like that conversational aspect as well.
I like how we never get, I would be fine with never getting to any questions. You have to sometimes, of course.
Like questions, they're more like guiding. They help guide the.
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
Conversation.
Great. Especially for someone who's 23. Well done.
Thanks, man. I have a few more questions if you don't mind as well.
No worries.
I do know someone like yourself does like exercising. So
yes, got to keep that old age off.
Yeah, man. So what would you say is your greatest achievement, and why?
Oh, I'm going to do the cliche thing, which is, my family. They're great. And so lucky that my wife, that she agreed to be with me and continues to, and she's ask anybody. She's the better half, and everyone would agree. And then I have these two, boys, which is like, it's when you have a kid, it's like you took your heart out of your chest and you put it in somebody else, and then they run around with it. And so that is by far something that I am proud of that. Yeah, I'm so lucky.
Is it hard to be a dad?
It's great, and it's hard, and it's easy, but you're right. I mean, they're 15 and 12, so they're getting to a point now where if, you better not have screwed them up. Parenting is hard, but it is the most rewarding thing on the planet. It's not a hard where you go, I mean, maybe some people do. We're like, well, fuck this. I just see it as like, I get to be with these guys every day, and now I really do, but I love them so much, and it's worth it by 1,000 kilometers or whatever you guys measured in. It's great. I love it. So I love them, and I'm so that'll be pretty cool. When if I look back and I go like, oh yeah, that was good. I hopefully I was decent, but that's my greatest achievement. That, and I own a vintage Toyota Land Cruiser. That's my other vintage. That's my other achievement.
A vintage.
I have 2. Yes, I have a problem.
And do you drive it often, or does it just sit there for show?
No, I have 2. One is in storage, and the other one I use all the time. It's got 170,000 miles on it. It's a 1990. Look it up. You can look it up afterwards. But I love that. I love vintage SUVs. I don't know what the hell happened to me, but I also love sports cars. I like a lot of stuff. I just want stuff. It's not great. Not a good way to be. It's not.
Can't really complain though, honestly.
No, I'm not. Just too much stuff everywhere.
Don't know what to do with it all. That's I don't have kids myself that I know of, but
boom.
I had to say it. I saw a funny picture last night, actually. It was of these shoes, and the caption was, if your father wore these shoes, you probably got a sibling that you don't know about somewhere out there.
That's pretty good.
It cracked me up. Almost fell off.
That's funny.
I got to show you the picture because
that's good.
It's like
Can
these
you share
Italian.
the photo?
I'll find it for you.
Let's see.
So here it is.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's funny. That's really funny.
It got me. I was just like, nah, this is definitely going up. I have to share this. So
that's funny. That's pretty good.
One thing that kids have actually taught me, because I did after school care for 2 years and looked after kids from the ages of 5 up until they were 12. And they teach you incredible patience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Something else.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Yeah.
When you think you are patient, go work for kids and they'll teach you this next level of patience.
Yeah. It's one of the hardest jobs on the planet. And yet it's one of the most, you learn. Yeah. And then you realize, oh, this is what I was like.
Yeah. And
then you realize how great your parents were. And you're like, oh, they were patient with me and let me work through all this crazy stuff.
So I've got a couple more questions for you, Joel. This one is, I usually ask this at the end. It might be hard to actually answer, but give it your best shot.
Okay.
What does creativity look like or mean for you?
I read this great book called How to Fly a Horse, and creativity, our strain of human being, that's one of the reasons why we pushed up past the others, was because we inherently have creativity. It's already in us. It's not something like that's a creative person and that's not. We are all that way because our strain of humanity said we were the only ones that would look at a hill and go, I wonder what's on the other side of that. And then we go find out. So I guess what it means to me is that it's already in there, and you just have to, no matter what you're doing. For me, it was acting and performing. That's all I ever wanted to do, probably because I needed instant gratification all the time. I wanted people to clap. So I don't know what it means. It means for some reason I wanted to do this thing and I get to do it and I don't know why, and I'll just thank God for it. So that's sure it means something better to other people.
It's a kind of a loaded question, I think.
Big one. It's good.
Relative to people though, like same with success. And I like asking those kinds of questions. It gets people thinking often.
There you go.
I've at one point in my life been asked the same question and gone, oh crap, I don't know what that means. Let me go figure it out. And let me get back to you. But
right.
This is more of a legacy question. You sort of touched on it a little bit before, and you've reached the age of 100 and your friends have put together a film of everything you've ever said and everything you've ever done. Don't ask me how they got it. They just did. And Ken's narrated it. He's done whatever he wants. He's been crazy. And they've shown it to you on your 100th birthday. What do you want that film to say and to show about your life?
It can just be a lot like, I don't know, 3 Men and a Baby, probably. They could just show that movie. That's fine. And I guarantee, because I talk a lot, so if it's a movie of everything I've ever said, that is going to be very long.
One hell of a long movie.
Very boring, because it's going to be a lot of burping, farting. Yeah. Hopefully I was nice to people. Hopefully I was kind to a few people. Hopefully. That's all I really hope. Yeah, that would be okay. And they would, drive my Jeeps off into the sunset. Okay.
I like that. It's, profound, I think.
Yeah. Hopefully my kids like me. We'll see.
You'll know when you get there.
Yeah, we'll see. Getting to 100. Okay. Yeah.
I love it. So Joel, my other question is, what is your favorite film, your favorite actor, and the last movie that you watched?
Let's see. That's a very big question because there's lots of different categories for favorite films and things like that. I don't know. I always usually say Doctor Strangelove or Blade Runner or
old school.
Oh, well, yeah, for me, still seems recent. But yeah, those are probably my favorites. I mean, those are always in my top. I mean, I love the movie Green Room. That's more recent, obviously. And my friend Scott introduced me to this Kurosawa film called Ikuru, which is just as beautiful as anything you've ever seen in your life. So that's a very difficult question to pin down. My favorite actor. I don't know. I like anything Samuel L. Jackson does. I think he's one of the greatest. It's hard to say. Boy, that's definitely a hard one. It's because, boy, there's so many insane performances out there I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say. I can't nail it down. I mean, Glenn Close is one of the best actors I've ever seen.
Yeah.
She can do anything, but it's hard. I don't know. The last movie I watched a lot of Bob's Burgers with my kids. That's not a movie. The last movie I watched, I don't know. I'm watching a lot of Narcos, as I said. I watched Back to the Future 3 with my kids. They love those movies.
That's on my wall.
Oh, there you go. Right there.
So I got 1, 2, and 3.
There you go. I got to meet Michael J. Fox last year, and I couldn't believe it.
That would have been a hell of an experience.
It's pretty cool. He's super kind, great. His wife is lovely, just great. So that is one very cool thing about being in a business that and you're working, is that you get to meet all these people that are your heroes. And that's been pretty cool. And everyone goes like, don't meet your heroes. And it's like, don't meet about 10% of them because they're dicks, but all the other ones are pretty great.
If you would have had told me like in 2009 when Community first came out that I would have the opportunity to meet you and speak to you, I would have said you're crazy. But
yeah, I would agree because Zoom did not exist back then. No.
And did Skype exist back then? I can't remember.
Did this? Zoom did not. I think no, not at all.
I don't even think Skype did either. But like technology has just enabled so much, and people's kindness as well has enabled so much. And it's because of people like yourself, Joel, that I'm able to do this. That I'm able to help inspire people, help motivate them, help challenge them, educate them as well, which is something that I've always wanted to do, but never really realized it until last year. So,
wow. Boy, you've had quite a year.
I've had one hell of a life, Joel. Like,
there you go. Yeah. 23.
I've had 3 near-death experiences.
My Lord.
Yeah. All at the age of 23.
What do you like you race motorcycles or something?
No, health-wise, like actually internally. And
well, you look very healthy.
Yeah, I keep myself healthy now, and I'm absolutely blessed to be alive today. But I was born with so many different health issues, and I'm a miracle baby. Let's just say that. And I guess my story and everything that I've been through, I love to be able to. I can relate to a lot of different things, like filmmaking as well. Can relate to working with actors and the fear involved with actually taking a step forward and reaching out to people, because there's a lot of rejection. Like I remember when I reached out to over 250 people, seriously, all the emails, and the one person that came back to me that said yes was you.
Wow, out of 250.
Out of 250. It only took one person.
There you go.
Thing. That one yes, I always say, leads you to, all the no's that you get leads you closer to the one yes that you need.
There you go. Yeah, no, it's like acting where you get a lot of rejection and but then once in a while you get one and you're like, oh, it's all worth it.
Oh, 100%. And this conversation, I hope, has been worth it to you as well.
Yeah. Great hanging. Get to talk about myself.
I appreciate you, man.
Like a true Los Angelino.
I love it. So, Joel, thank you so much.
Let's do it again sometime.
We're going to definitely do it again. Thank you.
Say hello to, I don't know. Say hello to that opera house on the bridge.
I'll climb the bridge for you. And then I'll take a photo, send it to you, say, Joel, I climbed the bridge for you, mate.
I did that. I was like, I just climbed. Wait, I had to pay for this? I had to climb to the top. People have to work on this thing. They get paid to do it. This is dangerous.
Wow.
It's really fun. It's really fun up there.
So when you do end up coming down to Sydney, Australia as well, love to have you. Love to show you around this great
right.
as well.
I know that I can definitely, work out. So I can see that behind you. So
you got you got the treadmill too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Joel, really appreciate you, man. Your kindness, your generosity doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Well, not at all. Well, that was really fun. And I hope it gets you 3 more listeners.
I don't like this part because it means that sadly, we have come to an end of yet another incredible story. I just want to say thank you to all of you for tuning in and listening to our guest today. It is my prayer that you would have felt inspired, motivated, challenged in some way, and that you would have learned something new as well. If you'd like to hear more amazing stories like this one, you can do so now by searching up the Storybox on any podcast platform. It's that easy. If you did get something from our guest today, please share it around to a friend or family member that you think could benefit from hearing this powerful story. And before you go, please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It will only take 30 seconds and it will go towards reaching more people. Let's start changing lives through powerful stories like this one. Your support is greatly appreciated. Until next time, when we dive back into the Storybox, I'm Jay Phantom, and don't forget, your story is worth more than you know. I'll catch you next time.